I am a huge comic book movie fan. I've seen them all, many of them multiple times. But one thing that always loses me is its comedy. I rarely crack a smile at any of their jokes, and I usually roll my eyes. I think even more so recently, Marvel has specifically started to make unfunny movies. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness has some of the worst attempts at jokes I've ever seen. I'm not a fan of their quippy one-liner type of humor. However, I recently watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and like many, I think it's a good movie. But it wasn't until after I watched it that I realized how funny this movie really was. I loved the first two Deadpool movies, but the humor in that never really appealed to me. The chaotic, edgy humor is Deadpool's character. He's like that in the comics, but I don't think a lot of these jokes translate directly to the screen as well. However, in Deadpool and Wolverine, they managed to nail down the humor while also keeping true to Deadpool's character. In screenwriting, a very common piece of advice is to avoid dating your movie. Placing a reference to something recent can age really badly, but Deadpool and Wolverine does the opposite. They went full on in making references and jokes that were relevant to the current state of comic book movies. There's a fight scene that features a broken 20th Century Fox logo in the background. There's multiple jokes about Marvel's downfall since Endgame. Deadpool even calling himself a Marvel Jesus. And with the amount of money this movie is making, he's earned that name. This movie pays respects to previous Fox movies while poking fun at them. Seeing Wesley Snipes' Blade show up, despite all the controversy surrounding the making of those movies, is really a special moment. Blade was the first real modern Marvel movie that was considered good and made a lot of money. Seeing this character again is not only crazy, but they write these jokes flawlessly. There's one instance where Blade says he doesn't like Deadpool. Deadpool looks at the camera and says that you never did. There's another instance where Blade says that there's only one Blade, and there's only ever gonna be one Blade. Deadpool then quietly looks at the audience. These jokes and jabs at previous drama are great. They're only elevated by seeing that these two have seemingly buried the hatchet, with Ryan Reynolds introducing Wesley Snipes as his dear friend in the San Diego Comic-Con. Channing Tatum has talked numerous times about how heartbroken he was that his Gambit movie was cancelled. Gambit is my favorite X-Men personally, and I really felt for him. If I ever got the chance to play Gambit, only for it to be taken away from me, I would also feel that way. So seeing him return in this movie meant the world to me. Not only did they give him a chance, but they also showed us why they didn't do it in a lighthearted way. A recurring gag in this movie is that Deadpool can't understand his accent. Another thing Deadpool comments on is his appearance. He looks amazing, and at the same time he looked ridiculous. With that said, even with all of these jokes, they still respected his character. He had an amazing action sequence, and Channing Tatum got to see his wish fulfilled. These are jokes that the audience can resonate with. We understand them. Some of us grew up with these characters. Before leaguer culture went rampant during the pandemic, we didn't know every single detail about a movie 3 months before release. We would hear about Wesley Snipes being a menace on the news, or hear an offhand remark from someone else that the Gambit movie was cancelled. When Jennifer Garner's Elektra makes an offhand remark about Daredevil, you get that joke. You get that her and Ben Affleck dated in real life. This is how you successfully do fan service. You make it cool, you make it funny, you do whatever you want for it, but remember that it's for the fans. People like to pretend like all the Fox movies sucked, but this era meant a lot to some people. That's why people get mad when they do something like what the directors of WandaVision did. Disney had just bought Fox. Talks about the X-Men being the MCU were finally happening. Even Peters was cast in the Wanda-centric show. The show introduces him as Quicksilver. He has his powers. He looks like the character. And if you were watching the show week to week, you would believe that this could be the version from the X-Men movies. However, in what I consider one of the worst scenes in any Marvel property, it is revealed that this character is simply called Ralph Boner. This is how you make your fans resent you. If you had no intention of this being the same character, then you shouldn't have written this character into the show like this. This scene wasn't funny. It wasn't entertaining. It wasn't cool. And it was a lame attempt at humor with a middle school dick joke. But Deadpool and Wolverine goes above and beyond to respect you as the audience paying to see this movie. Everyone gets made fun of, but everyone also gets to be cool. This movie genuinely made me laugh. It wasn't just because of the hype. It wasn't because of the cool cameos. It was because the screenwriter understands who's watching the movie. They understand how the culture and discussion surrounding these movies are nowadays. It helps that Ryan Reynolds is a natural comedian. He has the capability of making anyone laugh. A lot of actors in the MCU aren't like this, and this isn't a detriment to them. But Samuel Jackson, someone who I know is funny and has made me laugh before, Telling Monica Rambeau to use black girl magic really showed me how unfunny a movie could be when someone who has no experience or intention of writing successful comedy.